Welcome to aminacademy.com. Let us do the apogee of Ottoman Empire. That is a peak time. With the rise of Mehmed II, called a conqueror, Fateh, the Ottoman began a new era of conquest that extended the empire's rule across the Danube and into Central Europe, as well as over the lands of the Islamic caliphates in the Middle East and through much of North Africa. The conquest of new empire, the reign of Mehmed II in 1451 to 1481. Upon his accession on February 18, 1451, Mehmed inherited an empire in far better conditions than that which his father had come to rule 3 decades before. He was free to take the initiative without having to satisfy either internal or external pressures. It appears, however, that soon after his accession, Mehmed and his principal advisors, Sahabuddin Sahin Pasha and Zagonos Pasha, decided that they needed spectacular victory to fortify their political position against the Turkish nobility, which still wanted peace in order to prevent the Kopikulu and Devsiren from using new conquests to build their power. Nothing could be more spectacular than the conquest of Constantinople, arguing with some justice that Byzantium had sheltered Muslim claimants to the Ottoman throne to foment discord in the empire. Muhammad felt that as long as Byzantium held out, there would always be the possibility of new crusade efforts to rescue it, that it and complete unification of the empire would be impossible. Beyond these practical considerations, there was the dream of establishing a world empire with Constantinople as its natural center. For centuries, Muslims hoped of world domination that and had associated with the capture of Byzantium capital. Now we'll discuss further about the apogee, the peak of Ottoman Empire. Ottoman Empire reached the height of its power or apogee during the reign of Süleyman and Magnificent in 1520 to 1566. During that time, the empire expanded its territory, grew economically, and experienced a cultural and artistic renaissance. The Ottoman military conquered Hungary, Iraq, and parts of North Africa. The Ottomans also threatened the Habsburgs by advancing west to Vienna. The classical Ottoman army. Established by Mahmud II, this army was the most feared and disciplined military force of its time. It was characterized by its high level of organization, logistical capabilities, and elite troops. The empire controlled lucrative trade routes, which led to great wealth. Cultural. The Ottoman Empire experienced in cultural and artistic renaissance, with notable achievements in calligraphy, manuscript, painting, textiles, and ceramics. Architecture. The Ottoman Empire saw the design of notable public buildings by Sinan, the chief of the Corps of Royal Architects. Territory. The empire stretched from the Balkans to North Africa, across Anatolia, Central Asia, and Arabia. The empire's success was due in part of its centralized structure and its well organized military system. Now, we talk about the Ottoman Emperor Süleyman the Magnificent. The Süleyman the Magnificent, born November 1494, died September 1566 near Szigetvár, Hungary, was the Sultan of the Ottoman Empire from 1520 to 1566, who not only undertook whole military campaign that enlarged his realm, but also oversaw the development of what came to be regarded as the most characteristic achievements of Ottoman civilization in the field of law, literature, art, and architecture. Early life of reign. Sulaiman was the only son of the Sultan Selim I. He became Sankak Bey, governor of Kaffa in Crimea during the reign of his grandfather Bayezid II and of Manisa in Western Asia Minor in the reign of Selim I. Suleiman succeeded his father as Sultan in September 1520 and began his reign with campaign against the Christian powers in Central Europe and the Mediterranean. Belgrade fell to him in 1521 and rose long under the rule of kings of Saint John in 1522 to 23. At Mohawks in August 1526, Suleiman broke the military strength of Hungary. The Hungarian king Louis II losing his life in the battle. The vacant throne of Hungary was now claimed by Ferdinand I, the Habsburg Archduke of Austria, and John, who was voivode lord of Transylvania, and the candidates of the native party opposed the prospect of Habsburg rule. Suleiman agreed to recognize John as a vassal king of Hungary, and in 1529, hoping to remove at on one blow all other further intervention by the Habsburgs. He laid siege to Vienna, difficult of time and distance of bad weather and lack of supplies, no less than the resistance of the Christians, forced the Suleiman to raise the siege. The campaign was successful, however, in a more immediate sense, for John was to rule to rule thereafter over most of Hungary until his death. In 1540, a second great campaign in 1532, notable for the brilliant Christian defense of guns, ended as a mere foray into Austrian border territories. The Sultan, preoccupied with affairs in the east and convinced that Austria was not to be overcome at one stroke, granted a truce to the Archduke Ferdinand in 1533. The death of John in 1540 and the prompt advance of Austrian forces once more into central Hungary drove Suleiman to modify profoundly the solution that he had imposed in the time of John. His campaigns of 1541 and 1543 led to the emergence of three distinct Hungaries: Habsburg Hungary in the extreme north and west, Ottoman Hungary along the middle Danube, a region under direct and permanent military occupation by the Ottomans, and with its main center of Buda, and Transylvania, a vassal state, depend on the Porte and in the hands of John Sigismund, the son of John Zaporia. Between 1543 to 1562, the war in Hungary continued, broken by truces and with few notable changes on either side. The most important was the Ottoman capture of the Banat of Temeswar in 1532. After long negotiations, a peace recognizing the status quo in Hungary was signed in 1562. The campaign against Persia. Sulaiman waged three major campaigns against Persia. The first, 1534 to 35, gave the Ottomans control over the region of Erzurum in Eastern Asia Minor and also witnessed the Ottoman conquest of Iraq, the success that rounded off the achievements of Selim I. The second campaign, 1548 to 49, brought much of the area around Lake Van under Ottoman rule, but the third, 1554 to 55, served rather as a warning to the Ottomans of the difficulty of subduing the Safavid state in Persia. The first formal peace between the Ottomans and the Safavids was signed in 1555, but it offered no clear solution to the problems confronting the Ottoman Sultan on his eastern frontier. The naval strength of the Ottoman became formidable in the reign of Süleyman Khair al-Din, known in the West as Barbarossa, became Capudan admiral of the Ottoman fleet and won a sea fight off Pervisa, Greece, against the combined fleets of Venice and Spain, which gave to the Ottomans the naval initiative in the Mediterranean until the Battle of Lepanto in 1571. Tripoli in North Africa fell to the Ottoman in 1551. A strong Spanish expedition against Tripoli was crushed at Jarba in 1560, but the Ottomans failed yet to capture Malta from the Knights of John in 1565. Ottoman naval power was felt at this time even as far afield as India, where a fleet sent out from Egypt made an unsuccessful attempt in 1538 to take the town to Diu from the Portuguese. The latter years, the Sulaiman were troubled by conflict between his sons. Mustafa had become by 1553 a focus of disaffection in Asia Minor and was executed in that year on the order of the Sultan. There followed during 1559 to 61 a conflict between the Princes Selim and Bayezid over the succession to the throne, which ended with the defeat and execution of Bayezid. Suleiman himself died while besieging the fortress of Szigetvár in Hungary. Domestic achievements. The Minar of Sinan, Mosque of Suleiman I, the Magnificent Mosque of Suleiman I, the Magnificent Istanbul by Mimar. Istanbul Mosque it is. Suleiman surrounded himself with the administrators and statesmen of unusual ability, men such as his grand viziers, chief ministers Ibrahim, Rustum, and Mehmed Sokullu, ulama, notably Abu al-Sud and Kamal Paswazadeh, made the period of memorable, and as did the great Turkish poet Baki and the architect Sinan. Suleiman built strong fortresses to defend the palaces he took from the Christians and adorned the cities of the Islamic world, including Mecca, Damascus, and Baghdad, with mosques, bridges, aqueducts, and other public works. In general, Suleiman completed the task of transforming the previously Byzantine city of Constantinople into Istanbul, a worthy center for a great Turkish and Islamic empire. So far, we discussed about Apogee, the peak of the Ottoman Empire. We have done. Please subscribe our YouTube channel.